Hanzo just got a solid buff, and yes, it's already live on the official server. So here are some tips and tricks to use him effectively, especially in solo ranked game. Alright, even though Demon Hunter Sword got a slight nerf, the Trinity build is still the best choice for Hanzo right now. And for emblems and talents, Hanzo can actually perform well with different setups, but personally, I prefer using the assassin emblem with these talents. Then for the rotation, you can go for the classic Hanzo early invade, but I honestly don't recommend it. It's super risky and basically a 50-50. And remember, you're playing in solo ranked, so it's better to avoid risky plays as much as possible, because you have to assume and have a mindset that you will be the one to carry the whole team, so just play it safe and avoid feeding. And if you get a chance to punish the enemy while farming, so do it, but don't overcommit. Let your teammates handle it and immediately get back to farming. And it's very important to always keep an eye on the enemy jungler, so you can predict his next move and his rotation. And notice that we gank in human form here, and there are two reasons for this. First, to bait out the enemy's flicker, and with that, the second is to save energy. That's why Hanzo's buff is really solid, because your basic attacks now grant 15 energy regen against heroes and 45 energy regen against Lord or Turtle. This means you can extend the duration of your Hanekage form. But in this game, I'm still using the old Hanzo, so that's also why I usually stay in human form and get close to the enemy and bait out their skills or battle spells before going for the ultimate. But this is very risky because you'll be exposing yourself too much, making it easier for the enemy to catch you. This is why you want to be inside your tower or behind a wall before popping your ultimate. Since we got taken down there, we had to give up the turtle in exchange for their purple buff. You see, it's not the end of the world if you've been taken down. Just focus on farming again, and the key is to find trades and make something out of that bad situation. But look, for some reason, the enemy jungler didn't take the turtle immediately, so I told Tigreal to watch and at least be present in the turtle area, because we could still possibly contest it. But he went to the bottom lane instead, so we ended up being late for the contest. Now their Atlas hit level 4 right on time and immediately used his ultimate. But we weren't scared because we had our teammates here and Tigreal had his ultimate ready too. And just like that, the enemies got baited. It's now a 4v3 situation since Atlas joined the clash too, and Atlas already used his ultimate, so the enemies are clearly at a disadvantage. But still, we have to commend the enemies for trying to play aggressively, which is understandable if you have Fredrinn in your draft, but they were just outnumbered and miscalculated that invade. Then after a successful takedown, especially if it's their jungler, make sure to check their buffs so you can invade and deny it from him. And aside from that, you can also see the respawn timer of their buff so you can plan your rotation to get and deny it again. And make sure you're always keeping an eye on what's happening across the map. This way, you can provide backup to your teammates right on time. And if possible, try to mirror enemy's jungle rotation, because you're playing in solo ranked, and if you can copy the rotation of the enemy jungler, then you gank at the exact same time as the enemy jungler. This way, you can protect your random teammates and prevent them from being fed. Because you see, about 90% of the time, the reason the enemy team gets to snowball is because they pull off a successful gank. But this could be simply avoided if your teammates were aware of the upcoming gank. But since we're in solo rank, you have to assume your teammates, especially the side lanes, have less experience and are still improving their map awareness and game sense. And if you've noticed, we prioritize Golden Staff as our first item because it helps us farm faster, because with this item, we only need 3 basic attacks to activate Hanzo's passive. It's basically a must-have item for this hero. Then we also took advantage of the river current to get close to the clash and save energy. Also, every time Hanzo takes down an enemy, he regenerates energy. So technically, you can just use your ultimate early, and even if you're still far away, especially if the enemy are already at low HP. And trust me, Hanzo is one of the easiest assassin you can play. You simply need to ultimate, eat, farm, then repeat. But make no mistake, because although it's very obvious that at this point we are the one who controls the game, but there's a big plot twist coming. And here's a quick sneak peek of what's about to happen. And yes, we ended up being the ones struggling here, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's go back to the early to mid game. Everything was going smoothly, and we were even enjoying denying the enemy jungler's buffs. But let's see what went wrong. And look at my teammates, they're doing a great job capitalizing and maximizing on our gold lead advantage. And as usual, we don't pop our ultimate too early. We move in closer first so our energy won't run out faster. But we spotted Charizla first, so without any hesitation, we punished him immediately. Notice how we chunked his HP low first before using our first skill. This helps guarantee a clean takedown. Then go back to farming again. And once you spot an enemy, don't hesitate. Go for another takedown. I knew the enemies would try to defend their tower, so we stayed patient and then went for the dive. Since Hanzo is using the Trinity build, he can melt even tanky heroes like Atlas, Charizla, and Fredrinn. That's why if you're new to the jungle role and looking for a hero to start with, Hanzo is a great choice. He can burst both tanky and squishy enemies, and he farms jungle creeps and clears minions faster than most junglers. Also, his skills aren't too complicated and don't require super fast hands. So when playing Hanzo, all you really need to do is farm and hunt down enemies, because you don't need fast hand, but you just simply need to quickly identify your target. But of course, make sure you practice with Hanzo before taking him into ranked games. You need to be familiar with his energy management so you know exactly when it's safe to engage or when it's better to disengage. Understanding this is key to maximizing his damage and staying alive in fights. And take note, Hanzo is still vulnerable in human form. Although yes, he now has a small dash thanks to his second skill, but he's still easy to punish, so be careful. As you can see, we're now level 12 while Fredrinn is only level 9. That's why we can afford to play a bit recklessly here, but I definitely don't recommend trying this yourself. Fredrinn is one of those heroes who can throw chain crowd control, and once you're caught, it's very hard to escape. So always stay disciplined. But yes, I'm only human, and sometimes I enjoy playing a little recklessly. But if this were a tournament or a serious match, I'd play very carefully with no room for error. See, we weren't really disciplined here. The Lord was free, but we didn't take it. Just trying to prolong and enjoy the game. And for those asking if I'm interested in going pro, the answer is yes. If I had the chance, I'd take it. Even though I'm no longer at my prime, but not to brag, my decision making is still sharp. If it's God's will that I go pro, then be it and no one can stop it, even if I've passed my prime. But that's very unlikely for now because I have personal responsibilities and I don't actually play that much these days. That's why I had to dig up some old videos I played a week ago to make this video. Also, I'm really thankful for all the support and to everyone who continues continues to watch my videos. I'm sorry if I can't upload more often, but I'm doing my best to post as much as I can. And at this point, our enemies are starting to recognize us, and of course, we have to give them their shoutouts. Both our teammates and the enemies already have a good experience and game sense. Just look at what happened earlier. Fredrinn managed to punish us, and their decision to invade after we secured the turtle shows they have solid skills and decision making, but a slight miscalculation brought them into this tough situation. But overall, I can proudly say that they're really good players. It's just a matter of who snowballed first. And since we are the one who got the early snowball, so that's why we appear to be the one who is dominating. But it's not because the enemy team are low skilled players. And just look at that, they even tried to secure the Lord, which was a very nice attempt. However, they were just unlucky and our team still have the gold advantage. But watch closely how they punish our overextending teammates. See, this is just a close fight, and enemies clearly knows how to maximize their heroes and team composition. And by the way, one of the most important tips when playing Hanzo is to land your skill 2. Don't just press it, take your time to aim properly, because Hanzo's skill 2 is key for pulling off smooth combos. Hitting it also lets you stack your passive immediately, so you can instantly delete enemies. And if you struggle to land skill 2, try changing your striking position. What I mean is, you need to position yourself on the upper left side of the map. Attacking from this angle adds an element of surprise, because from the enemy's point of view, you appear at the bottom of their screen, right where the basic attack and skill buttons are, making it harder for them to react. And now let's get back in the game. And yes, we secured the Lord, but Leslie also got to snowball. So at this point, she becomes our priority target. And she's really performing well with this hero, because Leslie can also be considered a good counter to Hanzo because of her decent burst damage, especially in the late game. Once your Hanekage gets bursted down, she can effortlessly use her ultimate to damage your vulnerable human form and finish you off. Also, her first skill is really annoying because it prevents you from landing your basic attacks, and you need to hit your basic attack to stack your passive. That being said, you need to be extra careful when facing Leslie. Their Atlas is performing really well too, always finding the right targets and punishing mistakes. Our gold laner got taken down again, so we have to make some trades to even things out and recover the advantage. Hanzo is honestly an unfair hero. You're basically dealing with a ghost. Ignore him, and you'll get taken down. With his current buff, I expect more players will realize just how strong he is. But the truth is, Hanzo has always been OP. People may have different opinions, but having tried all the assassins, Hanzo has always been the most reliable pick for me, even before his revamp and adjustments. In fact, he's the hero I used to win championships in one of the tournaments I've joined in the past years. I remember back then, I was the only core player in that tournament who got to pick Hanzo. I didn't play him a lot, but I trusted him even in serious games, and he turned out to be the enemy team's worst nightmare at that time. Hanzo has incredible potential, especially if you know how to control yourself and calculate your moves without overcommitting. If you can predict the enemy's next move, I tell you, you'll definitely love playing Hanzo. And if you look at the map, my teammates are still playing aggressively, just like we did earlier since we had a decent gold lead. But this time it's different. The enemy team has caught up in gold and already have their core items. One wrong dive now, and my teammates could easily get punished. See, both our gold laner and EXP laner have been taken down. We tried to trade by taking down Leslie, but we missed our skill 2, so we quickly switched targets to Atlas and chased their mage instead. Then we switch back to human form immediately because we need to stay disciplined and control our aggression. The Lord is up, and this is a crucial moment. As the jungler, it's important to stay alive no matter what, so we have the potential to secure the Lord. But for some reason, Tigreal still chose to engage even without teammates. He was probably trying to force Fredrinn to use his retribution and plan to escape with conceal, which is commendable. But Cyclops in the late game has a low ultimate cooldown and is very fast, so she can easily catch up with Tigreal. So eventually Tigreal would be taken down, but we still have to commend him for buying time and distracting Cyclops and Leslie from bursting the Lord immediately. Thanks to that, we now have the opportunity to go toe-to-toe with their Fredrinn as we try to take away this Lord from him. We also have to commend Ixia for choosing a great position to free hit. Everyone here is really doing an excellent job. However, we got bursted down by Leslie, and look, here she comes. We tried to buy immortality, but it was already too late. And for those who don't know me yet, I'm Checkmate, and let's see if we can still win this game.
Even hell trembles.
And yes, we came in late, enemies already got the Lord, and the worst part is, we didn't even get a trade. To make things worse, our roamer and EXP laner were also taken down here. In a situation like this, you want to take down at least one enemy so defending the Lord becomes easier, especially Leslie. But as I mentioned earlier, she's really annoying. Her NB lets her dodge all our basic attacks, giving her a big window to escape. Hanzo is technically squishy, so it's always a good idea for the enemy to try and burst down his ghost form immediately. But we're still in this game and fighting back. The problem is, this Lord is enhanced, and with the enemies present at the bottom lane, we can't really save our bottom inhibitor turret. It's a tough situation, and we have to be smart and carefully assess the situation to successfully defend this. Terizla and Atlas had a great initiation right there, but Tigreal saved the team with a perfect counter engage. That gave us an opportunity to turn the clash around. We immediately seized the opportunity to push straight down mid and end the game. But the enemy team's composition is solid. They always have Atlas ready to provide crowd control and stop our GG push. And the rest of the enemy team will respawn in a few seconds, so forcing to end the game here would be risky. So we recalled back to base to save our top inhibitor turret, but we had already made a costly blunder, and now losing the mid inhibitor turret was inevitable. This is exactly what can happen if you don't respect the enemy's damage output and the potential of their team composition. Playing aggressively can be effective, but it's just as important to know how to control that aggression. Overextending without thinking can easily backfire. Now, while the enemy team is busy on our teammates, we make sure to clear all the minions first before we officially help our teammates. Then, if your retribution is still available, make sure to use it on the minions. And once the minions are cleared, it's time to give the enemy team exactly what they want. We started losing this game because we played very aggressively, but it turns out the enemy also fell into the same trap. They went all in without respecting our team's ability to punish mistakes, just like how we had acted earlier. Now, look, we started playing recklessly again, trying to end this game with style. And because of that, we ended up wasting our ultimate and now have to wait for it for quite a few seconds to successfully destroy the base. And the enemies are about to respawn, but the good thing about Hanzo is his fast attack speed, which lets him shred down base turret HP quickly. I can see that everyone played really well, and honestly, both teams deserve the victory. But in the end, there can only be one winner and one loser.